Hello and welcome to another God is a Geek video chat. As you can tell by what's on screen right now, we are going to be talking about Dead Island 2. And Adam has been fortunate enough to play it. How you doing, mate?
I'm good, mate. Thank you, yourself.
Yeah, not too bad, man. So I'm quite excited about this because I did thoroughly enjoy the very first Dead Island. I remember fondly the trailer, as most people do. But it's not about trailer; it's about the gameplay. So how was it just getting into it? How did it differ? What are your initial thoughts?
It's a really interesting game because it's gone through like multiple developers. It kind of was announced, I think, like nearly 10 years ago, if not 10
Yeah,
years, like a long time
yeah,
ago. You know, a lot of the people who made the first one went off and then made Dying Light. Then we got Dying Light 2, became a massive franchise of its own. Now we're back here, and it's Dambuster Studios who are developing it. And the other thing I want to just get out of the way right up front, I can't think, and maybe you can speak to this, I can't think of many games where I've had quite this much time to preview it. So we were allowed to play like 5 hours of the campaign, but there's, I think, 5 or 6 Slayers characters, and quite happily allowed to just play as them as well. So I've played a lot of Dead Island 2,
yeah.
which is, I mean, great. I'm glad people are letting, let us play the game. But that's cool. What I will say is I didn't go into it thinking this is going to revolutionize the industry. It's really good.
Yes,
Like,
good.
I'm sure there's people who are like, oh no, tell us it's bad. I can't tell you it's bad because it's surprisingly cathartic. It doesn't revolutionize an awful lot. But what I would say, and I don't want to make this video like all about just comparing it to the competition, Dying Light 2 sort of thing. But where that went a lot deeper into like the verticality and the gadget side of things, and you could hang glide and there was a hook shot, I think. So far, I can't say for sure because obviously I haven't finished it, but so far this kind of dials it like way back to like it's about the melee combat, it's about exploration, it's about the characters, it's about the build of your character, and I dig it for that reason. Like I wasn't sure going in what really to expect, and like first of all it was just like, does this actually work? Is it full of bugs? Not in my experience. I mean, I'm sure there will be people who had worse experiences, but I found one bug in the whole time I've been playing this, and that's quite impressive. The combat feels great. Like, it's all about the melee. I didn't get any guns. I get the feeling there are definitely guns in here. I'd be surprised if there weren't, so I can't speak to the shooting, if there is shooting. Everything I got is a melee weapon. It's got the crafting you'd expect. Some of the menus around the crafting are very similar to, shall we say, other games that you might know, where you can, get blueprint style stuff. And, as someone who reviewed one of those games, Chris, you might know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But it's got all that. You get a knife, and you can apply like a fire mod to it, so it does fire damage. And then there's zombies that are weak to this. There's loads of zombies, by the way. There's one that's like a beekeeper, and it's like he's got infected because of bees or something. And like there's lore to it. Like he aims bees at you, and bees attack you, and they're swarming you while you're trying to kill him. But it's kind of, I don't want to say it's basic because there's actually a lot to the build. So each of the characters has got a different skill set. Fundamentally, like, you've got your bruisers, or you've got your quick ones. And like Carla, who I started as, she comes with a move that you can block. Like in most games, you put your jukes up and you block it. With her skill, you block at the right time. You kind of parry the zombie. You can then press X on the Xbox Series X controller, and it goes into a little very quick time event, but I wouldn't even call it that. You just hit R2, right trigger twice, and you do like a execution style finisher, and they're so like if you're using like a machete, it's lob the head off, it's bludgeoning, it's all that sort of thing. Now that is a skill card, because this game uses skill cards, so there are 4 different, not trees, but like locations you can put cards into. They're specific to those locations. One is like character based. Then you'll unlock moves, so like you can unlock the drop kick. And for a while, I was just running around drop kicking zombies off roofs. Like it's great fun just to run up and like drop kick a zombie. They go through it's LA, it's Beverly Hills. There's all these flash glass roofs and swimming pools, and I'm just drop kicking zombies off roofs.
Never gets old.
Never gets old, and it's really smooth, and it works just like you want it to. But then I unlocked like the flying kick, and at first I was a bit confused. I was like, no, I've got that. It's different. So the drop kick doesn't do so much damage, but it really gives you crowd control. The flying kick is like a kind of almost like a Mortal Kombat standing jump kick. So you jump and do like a 1 foot out, and it does massive damage, but drains your stamina. But it doesn't knock them away. But you can only have one of them equipped at the time. Now, there are definitely other slots you can unlock as you level up and progress and all this stuff. And there are all these other cards that are like for buffing your ability. So when Carla does her block and parry, you can have a card equipped that will regain you health or buff other elements. Later on, towards the end of my time playing as Carla, I unlocked like a special move where you press both bumpers together, and this is where I think the co-op stuff comes in. Like she does like a ferocious roar kind of move, it's called, and it buffs everyone near you and yourself, so you like can hit harder. But I also unlocked a dodge move, so like a literally slide dodge move.
Yeah.
But you can only have that equipped or the block. Okay. So again, you're in your head, you're like, well, what do I want? So I tried it for a bit. I was like, I actually am more comfortable because I've got the parrying down. But on the other hand, when you start the campaign as Amy, she's all about the speed, and she starts with the dodge, and I presume later on probably gets the block. It's that kind of thing. So there's a lot of opportunity for building your character, and like I said, this is before and I was also speccing in a way was, look, I'm not playing co-op, so I need to just make sure that these affect me. But there are lots of things that could be built to improve co-op play. But the thing I also really liked about it so far, in a preview sense, is that every location feels kind of it doesn't feel like they've dropped a house and gone, yeah, they'll just chuck that there, and then just let them, It feels like every location's kind of explorable in a really cool way. Like, you'll go into a building, and it might be a side quest, but there will be, like, there's a YouTuber in this. I don't know who it's parodying. I literally got my kids in to say, who is this parodying? Because the whole thing is everyone's tried to escape on this plane, right? And the plane's gone down before they escaped, so they're stuck in LA. They're stuck trying to survive in the zombie apocalypse. You go into this YouTuber's house, and there's a zombie corpse sat on a sofa, and there's cameras facing him and a whiteboard with a script saying, I'm sorry for what I said. I just want to say to all my fans, I'm sorry, and I was wrong about the apocalypse, and the zombies are here, and I'm so sorry for any hurt, of course. But this is like a massive building in LA where you explore all around, and there's like, they've got like a studio for the podcast, like, they've got a studio with like, they've got an outdoor section with a green screen. This has all been really well thought out.
Yeah.
And within that, there are locations locked. Like, there'll be doors you can't get through. Now, some of them you just, because it's all glass, you can just smash your way into. But some of them, you'll have to go and find, like, a named zombie who is like, there was one, I think it was some ex-actor's house where he had tried to get away from the zombies by setting off TNT, but that had blown his stairs out, so he was stuck upstairs, and you needed to go and help him get out. But also, his tennis court manager had the key to the garage, which you could get like better loot from that. So it's like every location feels really designed, and I was really into that. And I think that's why rather than just rushing through the story missions, I was like, I want to explore this. I like the looting. I like grabbing all the stuff and getting a better weapon because I've explored and found the tennis court manager and found that you can find the YouTube dude's like girlfriend. She's still alive. And no, I think it might actually be the YouTuber. She's on the roof, and she wants you to, like, she's still in that mindset of like, hey, if I want to film you for the gram, can you kick these zombies in the face? Oh no, he's not doing it. Now we need. These are just the side stuff. Like the main mission. The first main mission? I don't want to talk too much about the story stuff because some of it's quite cool, but you go to a hotel and there's like locked boxes and stuff, and again you're finding keys in vents and shit that you don't have to. It's just to get you new loot. But it revolves around this like crazed, drunken military colonel or something, and she's gone mad, and she keeps going over the radio about this, the bride having her day, and I'm not having this. And eventually you find this woman, and eventually you find the bride, but the bride's a zombie, like a massive like Hulk-style zombie, and it's a boss fight. And it's like you're having a boss fight against a zombie in a full bride uniform, in the middle of what would be her reception, and... It doesn't, not every bit of the humour lands. Like, there's the thing where they go on about, like, the tagline is "Welcome to Hell A." LA, Hell A, and it doesn't. If I'm honest, that doesn't work for me. It works as a tagline, but when they're actually referring to it in games, LA kind of thing, it's like, it works as a tagline. If you write it down, it doesn't work, and people say. And the shame about that is that a lot of the characters are kind of interesting, and there's some story here I want to get into. Truth be told, like, there's not a lot I can say about it so far that is bad. Like, there's a few bits where the music is like a bit repetitive, but like that we're sort of, you know.
I've got a question for you about the zombies themselves. Like, you talk about dialing it back, the combats. At present, during the preview, you didn't really use any guns. So one thing I loved about Dead Island was that with it being melee, you did feel at risk quite a bit, and you were kind of on edge. And to me, that's what a zombie game should be. You shouldn't be overpowered. You shouldn't be able to wipe through, you know, mountains of zombies. So are the zombies quite tough to kill? Do you get overwhelmed? Do you feel that kind of danger?
So this is one of the things that I like about it the most, is the balance so far. And I'm going to make a really strange reference that I'm guessing most people won't get. But once upon a time in the game industry, when you would preview a game, like, say, and it was always like FIFA or PES, right? The football games. You'd preview them a few months before, and you'd be like, this is the gameplay. Don't touch it. Yeah. You've done it. Leave it alone. The game would come out, and you'd be like, "Oh, why?" It was bang. This balance is spot on at the moment. Like, you feel both sometimes really powerful, but you feel sometimes like completely overwhelmed. You get these, I forget what they call them. They're basically throwables, and they're really good. Like, you get one which is like it's a vial of flesh, essentially. You throw it, makes a big splash, and the zombies will go for it. And then later on, you get another throwable, which is a pipe bomb. So you can probably guess. So there are ways, but they're on a recharge. And again, the biggest thing I noticed about this game is it doesn't waste your time. Like, it's not like, oh, well, you've used that one pipe bomb, and I'm afraid you're just going to have to find or craft another one. It's just a rechargeable. You know, it's like in a Halo game where you throw a grenade and it recharges or something, you know.
Yeah.
And it also does this thing of like, if you do save someone in a side mission, you literally will say to them, "Hey, shall I escort you back?" And they're like, "No, it's cool. I got here on my own. I'm fine to get home on my own." It's like, thank you. I don't need to. You know, I don't need to do this. I don't need to babysit anyone. Let me hit zombies in the face. The balance at the moment, like, there is some really tough stuff. The only thing I wasn't sure on is, like, there was one zombie I encountered on the way back to the sort of hub. It was one of the big bruisers, and it was like a level above. And I was like, well, I'm going to have a go. And I took its damage down, and I died. But when you go back to it, it's still got the same damage. So you could sort of cheese it. I don't know if that's intentional or if that was a bug or if that's the way it is. But it happened with other enemies as well. So I think it might be intentional. And it's kind of that co-op thing of as if one of you stays alive, the persistence stays. But it was only me. Yeah. So I don't know if that was intentional or not. But I think they do quite a good job of making you feel vulnerable. And also, while you level up, it feels, you know, it's almost like one of those things where at first you're like, God, this is taking a while to level up. Oh, I've just leveled up. You know, just at the moment you're thinking, I need something, I need a new tool, I need a new skill. It seems to ping. I'm quite taken with it, man. I'll be honest with you. I'd have carried on playing.
Brilliant.
I'd have happily carried on playing. And I really wasn't expecting it. I really wasn't expecting this to be... listen, shit can change. Like, you know, you could get the guns. It could become they could throw in an element that's like it requires you to use the guns, and all of a sudden it's like, no, that's not the game I was enjoying. Now we're playing a shooter. I don't know, but the card system, the combat so far looks good, sounds good, characters are good. Like, I'm really surprised by this. Like, it's not like, oh my god, because it's also there's not a huge amount here that you're like, well, this is fresh. Like, it is a culmination of a lot of ideas.
No, but people have got an expectation that this is going to be kind of a mediocre game because
I think so,
how long it's taken.
Yep.
You know, there's a lot of aspects that make you think that. So the fact that you've just come out of it just really
I really don't
just
have
enjoyed
a lot
it.
to say that, you know, I don't like about it.
Yeah, exactly. And games
it's really cathartic, and like you said, the enjoyment is the thing. It's just I'm not going, oh well, this is the story's not exactly as good as something like The Last of Us. Like, I'm not really there for that.
No.
It's just really good fun. It's just really good fun, and that's, I don't know, that's enough. That's enough for me. That's enough for me with Dead Island 2, if you know what I mean. Like I say, pending them introducing mechanics or ideas later on down the line. Because there's a whole thing on the skill card thing. There's a bottom one. I forget what it's called. I don't even know what that is. Never unlocked one. Don't know what it is.
Yeah.
No idea. And it's got a really weird name. That it's got to be something. Well, I don't want to say because I think I can guess what it is, but I don't want to go into spoilers at this stage. So yeah. Good so far. Good so far.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, you can go and read Adam's preview of Dead Island 2 on godsgeek.com. And if you be so kind enough to support us on Patreon at patreon.com/godsgeek by giving $1 a month, you get loads of bonuses there. Patreon only podcast, code giveaways, all sorts. Thank you for joining me, Adam.
Welcome.
And also, if you like to subscribe, click the bell button. Follow us on YouTube for all more videos that we've got coming up, because there's a lot of games, and we'll be there with each one. Thank you very much, and take care. Bye-bye.